Hi everyone, I'm Rich and welcome back to Mission 1820 and this week's episode of Have You Ever Wondered? Now this is a weekly series where we answer a common biblical question in just 5 minutes or less. So if you're new to the channel, we encourage you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and definitely leave us some comments below letting us know how we're doing. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this week's question. Have you ever wondered what happens to those who have never heard the gospel? Well, according to the Bible, all people will be held accountable to God, whether or not they've ever actually heard of Him or they've actually heard the gospel. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 1, verse 19, they know the truth about God because He's made it obvious to them. The Bible also tells us that God has clearly revealed Himself in nature and in the hearts of people. Romans 1:20 continues by saying this, "For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see His invisible qualities." So people might ask, well, what about the tribal people who have lived in the jungle their entire lives? Or maybe that person who has just cut themselves completely off from the world and has never physically heard about God or the gospel. As we know from the Bible, God will judge us according to what we know of Him. We're not going to be held accountable for what we do not know. Still, with that being said, that does not excuse us from all responsibility. Just because we've never heard of God or we've never physically heard the gospel, it doesn't mean that we haven't experienced Him. You see, each of us was born with a soul. We've got that emptiness and a sense that our lives should actually have more meaning and purpose than it actually does. And this by itself has each of us searching for life's meaning and searching for God. So if we assume that those who never hear the gospel are granted mercy from God, well, we lose our motivation for evangelism because we run into a terrible problem, actually. If the people who never hear the gospel are automatically saved, then it is logical to make sure that nobody hears the gospel. Because if they do hear the gospel and they reject it, then they're condemning themselves to hell. The Bible's clear that those who perish without Christ will face an eternity in hell. So now you know what happens to those who never hear the gospel. Thanks for watching and God bless.